In this video, we're going to use some logic to prove that line A is parallel to line B. So let's just talk about a couple of things here. The first thing I want to alert you to is this symbol, these two vertical lines, is read as parallel to. And so this sentence reads, can you conclude that A is parallel to B? Justify your reasoning. And I'm looking at this, and what it looks like I've got here is a couple of parallel lines and a transversal, and I've got these arcs. And these arcs, as you can see, if you don't know, they indicate that these angles are congruent. And in this example, you can see that they're both 59 degrees, but in many examples, you will just see these arcs. So if it's one arc, then every angle with one arc is congruent. Sometimes there are two arcs. If there are two arcs, then the angles with two arcs are congruent. And so I'm asked to justify this if these lines are parallel. And I know that if the corresponding angles formed by two lines and a transversal are congruent, let me say that again. I know that if the corresponding angles, in other words, angles that are in the same position, they're on the same side of the transversal, and they're both below the lines, therefore I know these angles are corresponding angles. And if the corresponding angles formed by two lines and a transversal are congruent, then the lines are parallel. In other words, the congruent corresponding angles prove that line A is parallel to line B. And so I have justified my reasoning, and I am certain that these two lines are in fact parallel. All right. In my second example, I'm asked, can you conclude that A is parallel to B? Justify your reasoning. And as you can see, I've got a couple of lines. They're parallel lines. I think they're parallel, and they're cut by a transversal. And I know that if alternate interior angles formed by two lines and a transversal. So let me say that again. I know that alternate interior angles, in other words, they are inside of the lines and on either side of the transversal, inside these lines and on either side of the transversal, if they are congruent, then I know that the lines are parallel. And as you can see, there are no arcs, and this angle is 121 degrees, and this angle is 122 degrees. Therefore, I can conclude that A is not parallel to B because the alternate interior angles are not congruent.